So in section two, I'm going to talk a little more about psychosocial resources. There are going to be like three main ones that you have to keep them in your mind. Number one going to be optimism. Number two going to be psychological control. And the last one going to be self-esteem. Optimism, I guess you're familiar with that idea. It's just basically being positive about what's going to happen to you, just actually thinking about the result going to be always positive. And for you, you got it, just having like that kind of narrative about yourself. For me, it is just always about doing research or participating in a conference. I don't know, I mean, that's crazy and it might sound like kind of narcissistic, but I always feel like I got it, and I'm gonna be the first person who gonna get the award, and literally I'm getting that. Whenever I would just participate, I would definitely get the award and all that. And I'm just very famous about this in psychology, in psychology department. Because I feel like, I mean, I actually overcame so many tasks, so that one gonna be either easier or if I would get rejected, I would learn a lot from, because like whenever they are just rejecting you, they're gonna give you some feedback. So basically, you're gonna learn from those feedback, and you're gonna actually add it to your next proposal or grant or something like that. So yeah, I'm very optimistic about like different accidents in my life or competition in my life. But in general, it seems like optimistic people, they're gonna promote active and approach-oriented coping and healthy behaviors. I'm gonna stop on approach-oriented coping because it is very important. We're gonna talk about this more, but keep that in your mind. It is just totally correlated with optimism. Healthy behaviors, we already know that if you would be optimistic, if you feel like you can just manage that kind of a stressful situation, um, you can actually promote more healthy behavior in yourself and you're going to be more active. That actually leads to the second one, psychological control. Whenever you feel like you got it, whenever you're optimistic, you feel like you have control over that stressful, crazy situation. This actually gonna bring you different positive physical component. For example, you're gonna have lower blood pressure, you're gonna have lower cortisol level, and less systematic inflammation. The last one gonna be self-esteem. It's just very important. Whenever you feel like optimistic, whenever you feel like you can control the situation, you're gonna have higher level of self-esteem as well. Higher level of self-esteem, it just correlated to effective coping. But even if you would have like higher level of self-esteem, it doesn't mean like you can just control even like highly stressful situation. No, like I said before, any event's gonna be dynamic and your relationship with that event gonna be dynamic. Yes, you can just manage one easy task, you can manage one moderate task, but if you would have a final project, you don't have any guidance over that, of course you're going to lose it. So probably just having high self-esteem without knowing the prompt or knowing the guideline cannot help you a lot in a crazy stressful situation. In general, self-esteem is just associated with lower levels of stress, especially less HPA access activity. We already talked about HPA access. We know that like a stress gonna be caused by two systems in our body. One of them it was HPA access. So you can just go back and check that part of lecture because I don't want to go off more than necessary. So there are like some problems here and there with these three psychosocial resources. For example, for optimism, optimistic people, they're just very persistent. They are very motivated. They feel like they got it every time. So if they would just encounter a small problem down the road, or if the task would be more challenging from what they expected, they're going to get frustrated. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. For example, you just did discussion post one, you got a 10 out of 10. Then you feel like, okay, I got it. I'm gonna be graduated this spring from this course with A plus. Yet, maybe your next quiz would be very hard. Maybe, for example, your next discussion post wouldn't be that much easy as the first one. So, if you would just actually see the prompt, or if you would see a crazy question that you wouldn't be able to answer them, you're gonna be the person who gonna get more frustrated compared to a person who was just negative from the beginning. But it is a phase. It's gonna go away very fast because optimistic people, they always gonna get it. So being optimistic is just very important and it's a valuable resource. Be like that. I mean, I need to just be more optimistic about different aspects of my life because like just only about academia, I'm just that much optimistic about like other problems, I'm not. I make a big deal of everything. Um, so, so here we're going to talk about additional resources, self-confidence is just very important, sense of meaning and peace, just being peaceful, just, keep yourself together. It's just very important. Being smart, it always can help. Emotional stability is important. And the first one, conscientiousness. Like, okay, I always it's just a lot for me. It just writing this word and also pronouncing this, it's just crazy. Conscientiousness. Okay, you can live longer if you would have conscientiousness. Okay, keep that in your mind. And don't ask me ever again to just say this word. It's just a lot. So there are like some crazy facts, like you feel like, for example, optimistic people, they're gonna live longer, they live like very happily and all that. It's not like that. Actually, they're gonna die sooner for some reason, and we don't know why. So it's a very fun fact. Another, I mean, it's not a fun fact, but another important fact is religion in general, it's gonna promote psychological well-being, and people who have, let's say, faith, they might live longer because they actually believe in something, and they can just, it just kind of challenging to describe that, but in general, if you would just have if you would just practice a specific religion, if you would be a religious person, it seems like it just correlated with happiness for some reason. So yeah, it's another fact. So what else? Resilience. I love that. I would actually call myself a person with higher level of resilience because like, yeah, I told you, I'm very positive, very resilient. So yeah, resilience gonna help individual to just be flexible, even for a stressful situation, even for challenging tasks. If you would be like that, you're gonna have like some sort of thick skin, so you can just be a fighter, and it's just very good. So there are like so many resources that can promote resilience. For example, sense of humor is very important. Having social support, the idea that people around you, they can help you, it's just very important as well. Having a purpose for your living, like you feel like, okay, life is just beautiful. I have to live this life. It is just one time. It's just very important as well. All of them, they can promote resilience. There are like some opportunities that can boost resilience as well, like rest, relaxation, renewal. They are just very important to just help you to just cope more and more with the stressors. Okay, I already mentioned about one of the coping style. I talked about approach-oriented coping style. I literally said that it's just more and more in optimistic people. Here we can see another one, avoidant coping style. So in general, there are going to be two broad category when it comes to coping style. Keep that in your mind. It's going to be your quiz question. So coping style is gonna be whenever you're gonna see a stressful situation, you're gonna run away. Like you would just erase the main problem and you would just distract yourself. Because like you are not actually accepting the seriousness of that event or of that stressor. And you're not addressing that at all. Okay. Then there gonna be another one, approach-oriented coping style. It just you gotta actually do the efforts to solve the problem that you are seeing in front of yourself. You're gonna seek support from someone else, either a therapist, your parents, your friends, your husband, wife, whoever is around you. You're gonna ask them to just help you, and you are actively trying to just address that stressful situation. You won't gonna like you wouldn't run from that stressful situation. You wouldn't erase that problem. You would address that. Um, so the nature of the event actually that can contribute a lot to your coping strategies. I'm going to tell you, it is actually kind of oversharing, but for example, I had a conflict with one of my colleague like last week. And technically, that person, they were like more senior compared to me. Like they are, let's say, 2 years ahead of me. And they know I believe that they know 10 times more than me. And I have to be like more flexible toward them instead of being that much rigid. But like, yeah, but at that point, I thought I was right and they are not right for that specific paper. We were writing a paper. So, long story short, we had a conflict, like a small argument in which I mean, I was right, so I could just elaborate a little to just say that, hey, I'm right, and maybe you are wrong here, maybe we should just do this and that. Then I thought, even if I would tell them that they are wrong, it wouldn't actually resolve any problem. And if they would just understand, you see what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't address anything. It wouldn't change anything, but it would just make them upset because they are just senior and they actually believe that they know more than me. So let them to just feel like that. So I actually avoid that situation, avoid that kind of confrontation, to just, do this, do that, like more argument and all. I was like, okay, you're right. I avoided that sort of situation. So whenever you have like different problems, you can evaluate either you're going to avoid them if it is small, if it is like negligible, if it wouldn't just impact your life like drastically, avoid them. I mean, but if you have like a very big problem and like you have to just address them, for example, your boss, they are not understanding you, they are not a like good boss or something like that, you have to resolve the issue. You need to seek help. So it is like the same idea here, problem focused coping, in which talking about doing like something constructive about that stressful situation. Emotion focused coping is about regulating your emotion because of that stressful situation. So I knew that I'm right. If I would be more aggressive and just, you know, I would just make my point, it would be some sort of emotional behavior because I wouldn't get anything out of that. So I avoided that. I did like problem focused coping. I was like, okay, let's do that constructively. Let's just publish that paper even though they are just wrong, because like their opinion wouldn't impact the paper at all. It was just their opinion. So it is like the whole idea here. So whenever you do have a problem, you're gonna have a style. Either it's gonna be avoidant coping style or approach oriented coping style, and you're gonna just do different sort of focused coping. Either it's gonna be problem focused or emotion focused. Um, so there are like some external resources, like I said, the relationship between the situation and also coping behavior gonna be dynamic, and it just depending on you, your personality, the nature of the problem. Also, some external resources, your time. Do you have time actually to just dwell on that problem, or you have to move on? Tell yourself whenever you do have a stressful situation. Money. So if like arguing with your boss gonna impact your financial situation, yes, you might get fired. So I mean, it's just up to you. Education is just very important. If you would just educate yourself about a specific coping behavior, or if you would just have a higher education, you would just look at the problem differently. Decent job, friends, family, standard of living, they are all very important. Having positive life events, important. Absence of other life stressors, they are also important. And again, socioeconomic status, like your background, the neighborhood that you were living before and you are living now, they are all can be very important for your coping behavior. Coping outcomes, I mean, it's a lot. It's definitely more than that, but it's gonna enhance your recovery when you are ill. It's gonna actually help you to just maintain a good emotional balance, a positive self-image. It can help you to just tolerate or adjust to negative events or realities. It's gonna reduce your stressors. Um, and it is actually help you just a better immune reactivity, immune system, and also it can reduce your immune reactivity.